Hey there, guys and girls. How's it going today? Today is my push day training log. Today was, it's kind of an odd day. We've been having warm weather here in Eastern Kentucky. It's been, 60, 70 degrees Fahrenheit, 15 to, 20 degrees Celsius, somewhere in that area. It's been around room temperature outside. It's been sunny and warm, and it's been really nice. And, over the course of one day's time, we have went to, I think today it was around 32 Fahrenheit or around 0 degrees Celsius. Very cold and windy. The wind chill was probably, as far as Celsius, terms of Celsius goes, it was probably below zero. Fahrenheit, it was probably close to zero. Today, I'm not sure what my deal was, but there were several things I didn't feel like I done as well on. That last upload was one of my all-time best handstand press attempts. I don't know if you saw that, saw that clip, but definitely check that out. That's my short for the last workout day. I felt like I done really good on that, and then today, I came out, it's push day, and I decided I was going to, start off like I normally do and hit another handstand press, and I just couldn't get one today. And sometimes that's how it is, particularly with calisthenics. Handstands have always been very weird to me. Now I've got to a point where I can hit them nearly every single time I ever try them. Handstand presses, not quite so much, and today is a good example of that. But handstands are one of those things where sometimes you'll go into the gym or you'll go into your workout area feeling like, it's going to be your best day. You'll be feeling on top of the world, very strong, very well rested. And you'll feel like it's going to be your best handstand ever. And on some of those days, you won't even be able to hit one. And then on other days, you'll feel weak, you'll feel tired, you won't even feel like working out. But you talk yourself into it. I see there, my hands are pretty cold. I kind of wish I'd tried some gloves. But anyways, you'll be feeling tired and run down. You won't really feel like working out. And you'll try a handstand, and that might end up being your best handstand. Handstands and being inverted have always been very inconsistent for me. It could have had something to do with how cold it was today, and I've also been on my feet quite a bit for the past 2 days, but I'm not here to make excuses. Sometimes, you have good days, and sometimes you have bad days. But the main thing is that you be safe and you don't get injured, and try to be able to recognize when things just aren't going your way, and know when to call it, because if you keep trying to hit that handstand, you try to hit 20 plus attempts on that, you're just going to wear yourself out and you're not going to get anywhere. So sometimes you have to just cut your losses and just keep going with the flow. Just roll with the punches life throws at you, and come back next time and try it again. But something I wanted to talk about today, other than my handstand performance that you'll see here shortly, was something I've always told myself over the years I've worked out, and I've mentioned it a few times here in recent videos. But it's something I really need to start, embracing in my training routine. Like I've always said, any kind of skill training should have very slow and controlled positive and negative movements. But when you get on working sets, any kind of working exercise, you should have a very quick, explosive 1 second or less. Try to do it instantly if you can. The positive movement. And then the negative movement should be around 2 to 3 seconds. Very slow and controlled. And, over time, that will build a great amount of strength and power. And, I'm always mentioning all these different things for you guys to try, but, one of the most interesting things about life, and including calisthenics, is that it's all about balance. You have to find the optimal balance on how to do everything in life. Whether that's how much you want to work versus how much money you want to make, versus how much time you want to have off, or whether that's how much slow and controlled movements you have versus explosive, and when to do each respectively. Life is definitely all about balance. But just to summarize in my ramble there, keep your skill training, keep slow and controlled, positive and negative movements. Just really focus on rep quality. On working sets, try to have as fast as possible an explosive, or should I say as fast as possible without sacrificing form, because form is always number one. Technique and control is always number one, regardless of what you're doing. But on working sets, try to have a very, very fast and explosive, positive movement. And then on your negative, you don't have to go super duper slow, but maybe around a 2 to 3 second negative, or return to resting position. So like here you see me doing those push-ups. When I go up, that's positive. Down, that's negative. You see me doing pull-ups. When I go up, it's positive. Down, it's negative. So you won't really see me implementing what I'm talking about right now until we get to the end of the workout today. And that's where I really kind of realized what I needed to do. But we'll talk more about that later. Here's that handstand press, or a couple handstand press attempts today that I was talking about that didn't quite go so well. Let it get just a little too far forwards and lost it, and so I decided to walk around, shake it off, and I'd come back and try it again. And I'm not really sure what was going on, but like I was saying, today just wasn't the day for me to hit a handstand press. I think when I fell over there, I think that was. Oh no, I still had a little bit left in me. I guess it's this attempt. Yeah, I see. You have to just know when to call it quits, and then when to try it again next time. Because if I gave that, any more attempts, I would just be fatiguing myself, and then that would take away from my planche practice. And I feel like my planche practice actually went pretty good today. Felt pretty solid on that straddle. And then here, I try something new I've been trying. This is my second time ever trying this. I just do a real quick kick out to a full planche, and then then I bridge down in the progressions to something I can more so do. But the overall goal of this second attempt, really on any skill that I'm not super proficient at, is to get time under tension. I'm trying to get time under tension in the most difficult progression style that I can do for time under tension. But overall, that second attempt should be pretty easy. Handstands here, or handstand push-ups here, actually went pretty well. I'm not really sure if I'd call that 1 or 2. But on this second attempt here, I decided I wanted to do just a really super slow negative and controlled motion. And it went so well, I decided to hit 2 more. You'll see what I'm talking about here. Just trying to go down as slow as I can, keeping control. And I decided I would hit it 2 more times. A little less control on that one because I'm getting a little fatigued there. I don't really want to get fatigued on skill training, but I think those went pretty well. Just focusing on control. Here I decided I'd try 1 arm push-up. Well, sort of. It's kind of like an assisted 1 arm push-up. What you see there with the right arm is how you do a 1 arm push-up, but I'm assisting myself. You'll see there now doing the other side. I'm assisting myself with the opposite hand. Just to make things a bit easier. I may play with this some more in the future. I did really like how this felt versus doing the 1 arm push-up attempts incline on the bench like you've seen in some of my previous videos. But here we'll get into the working sets. So today I'm doing body weight dips again. But these aren't just your ordinary body weight dips. I'm trying to get very, very deep into this without letting my chest go down. Because if your chest goes down, you'll kind of start shrugging, and that puts pressure where you don't want it. Like on the connective tissues and your rotator cuff and things. So I'm trying to keep my chest up. Say it with your chest, so to say, as Kevin Hart would say. But I'm keeping my chest up, and I'm trying to get my elbows down and back. And I kind of wish I had, maybe went for less reps and more elbows going back. But, it's my first time trying that. Really, the idea here is to increase my tricep strength more than my chest strength. I'm still hitting chest, especially with that negative you just saw there. But this is also, I could really feel this in my triceps. And the idea is that this will apply to the slow muscle up. This will really help me power out of the transition for a slow muscle up. I think in the future, if I try this again, I may try, just getting my forearms down parallel to the ground for, 1 to 3 reps, and then bridging into just regular body weight ring dips for the remainder of the set. See there how my forearms kind of got parallel? You can see my fatigue. I could really feel that in the triceps if if you're pretty good at dips and you want to kind of change things up or try something new with them, try to keep your chest up, but really bend your elbows and get deeper into the position. Kind of like something called an impossible dip, if you're familiar with that. If not, give that a search, but that's also definitely a very similar movement to what I was doing there. Or at least what I was trying to do there, should I say. But here are pike push-ups. I was taking these very slow and controlled, and yeah, I could really feel those after that set. But this is great for your shoulders, great for your upper pectoral muscles. And I even decided I'd throw the Bosu in there for that second set, just to add some stabilization to the movement. I think that first rep I wasn't really inclined enough, but I quickly realized that and came a little more forward on my toes. The only thing I didn't like here with this set, you'll notice on some of the reps, after I make it down, my heels kind of go back, and I'm kind of sacrificing form a little bit when I do that, in order to make the exercise easier. And that's just something subconsciously I'm doing. Like my body's telling me, hey, do this. This exercise is too hard. And that's just human nature. Yeah, that was definitely a tough set. But like I was saying, that's just human nature. But you have to recognize that, and you have to be able to adapt and overcome to that, so that you can get the most out of your exercises. So next time I'll try to keep that in mind and really try to keep my heels forward. And if I get where I can't make it back up, I could do a few negatives, at the end of the set. There's always an answer. There's always a way around things without sacrificing your form or rep quality. But here's what I was talking about earlier on that I would talk about later. I'm doing a really explosive positive motion, and then I'm doing a really slow and controlled negative motion. And this is really the secret to building, just very high levels of strength and power. You want to be able to explode positively and then have that controlled and slow negative to return to the resting position. This is something, the younger me used to really focus on, pull-ups and just various things. And I think that's really helped me get to where I am today. So I've been really big on super slow and controlled movements. And I think that is a really good idea, but you have to use super slow and controlled movements at the right time. If you always have slow positive and slow negatives, I'm sure that, it's very difficult in its own ways. But like I've said before, there's different kinds of strength. If you want to be somebody that can do 100 pull-ups, that's awesome, but, that's not my cup of tea, so to say. I would rather be able to do, a 100-pound pull-up or a 150-pound pull-up one time. Or, like a 50, 60, 70, 80-pound pull-up, for 10 or less times. There's all different kinds of strength, and I feel like if you always do slow, controlled positives and always slow, controlled negatives, I think that's a different kind of strength as well from doing what I've, referred to in what you see here, which is a very explosive, powerful, positive movement, and then a very slow and controlled negative. You can just play around, play with a little bit of everything, see what you like. I definitely recommend the slow positives on the skills, because skills are difficult, and it's not only just for your safety, but it'll also help you to progress faster in the skills. Because a lot of the skills require a lot of thinking about how to do things, and they aren't quite as simple as something that's a working set where it's just a repetitive motion over and over. But these explosive movements really help build power and strength. They really help you build a lot of muscle tissue. That'll carry over to all the other goals you may have in calisthenics. Tried to do a little 360 spin over there. Yeah, today it wasn't happening, but I didn't really want to give that too much of a try today, because tomorrow is pull day, or should be pull day, unless something comes up. But I didn't want to pull something or strain something, or wear myself out before I get to hit pull day. So we'll save we'll save the 360 spin overs for another time. We're just stretching out, shaking things out. It was very cold today, but I warmed up after I got moving. But hopefully tomorrow it'll be warmer. But we'll have to see. The weather in eastern Kentucky, I guess really the weather anywhere in the Appalachia mountain area because that's where I'm at, is really right in the heart of the Appalachian Mountains. The weather here is very odd. Some days it's very warm and it's almost like summertime, and then the very next day it'll be very cold, just like it's the middle of winter again. I'm not sure, how it is in the rest of the world, but if you're somewhere that has very interesting weather, please share that down below. I'd love to hear about it. Um, I'm sure some people up north have some very cold winters, and I'm sure people down south, have very warm summers. But anyways, this is all I have for today. Hopefully you learned something. If you have any questions or comments, please leave those below, and I'll try to get back with you. Take care of yourselves. Hopefully you learned something from watching my struggles. Thank you so much for your time, and have a great day, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.